Okay, so to jump now to
Imposter
syndrome.
Damn, I really suffered with this, like, bad. And again, this is something that me and Valeska talk about all the time, and we had like a really deep conversation. The last time I was here, before we were able to do this, we would always hang out in her backyard, many feet apart, and just have really deep conversations. But
it's so nice to be this close to you.
I know.
I can't believe it. I really can't believe it.
I know, it's our first time being close to each other.
And, like, we hugged today. It's amazing.
God, it was just the best. I really suffered with imposter syndrome, and I'm putting it in the past tense because I'm optimistic for myself and hoping that going forward it won't be as bad as it was before.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, going back to my internship and having jumped right into a role that was someone's full-time job, and now it's my unpaid internship job.
Combined with classes. Combined with,
I was
like,
doing
life.
Exactly. I was doing a CSUN partnership on Saturday. My only free day was Sunday.
And you took like 15 credits.
Oh, I took a full semester up until my last semester.
Yeah.
Fully. I had to because of my financial aid. But
yeah, same. Yeah. Same with my grants.
I had to do full semesters every semester. But yeah, I was essentially working 2 jobs and going to school full time. And one of the beautiful things about my internship was that opportunity I got. Since our marketing and development person left, I filled in that role, and I learned a bunch. I learned a ton. So I will never, ever take that for granted. But then when I left the organization and had a really hard time finding a job after, I was just kind of thinking, like, was I even good enough? Like, was I even meant to work in this sort of field or be in this position or anything? And I remember I told you, because my CEO, like, when I was an intern, I was a rock star, and these are her words. She was like, you're a rock star and you're a superstar, and we'd go to events and she'd introduce me to people and places of power, and she would be like, this girl is insane and she does this.
Yeah, she's hyping you up. She's saying, like, vouching for you, putting her credibility 100%. On the line.
And then as soon as I get employed, micromanaging me and looking over my shoulder and no longer trusting me, and she literally told me, like, don't post anything, don't send anything without my approval. So then that's kind of where the imposter syndrome started setting in, and I started doubting myself, and I got really insecure because I was like, was everything she told me before a lie? Am I really not good at my job? Why was I even hired? And so that was really, really difficult to work through. But I think having conversations with my family and you and people that I genuinely, like, had respect for and valued their opinion, when these people started telling me, like, no, like, you're a hard worker, you have great work ethic, you are a phenomenal person and a hard work. I already said that.
No, but, like, you have that, like, you have that will to push.
Exactly.
Like, more than anybody. Like when you say hard work in that way, I think it's just also kind of continuing to articulate the fact that, like, above the norm, dramatically above the norm.
Right. That was something I was super confused about as an intern, because I actually found an evaluation for my internship as I was cleaning out my closet the other day, and my former supervisor, before she left the organization, she did an evaluation on me. It was a requirement for my internship class, and she wrote that I far beyond exceeded their expectations for previous interns that they've had. And I would go home and tell my parents, this is so strange to me, because I've seen my parents push and work and hustle my entire life. So I thought that I was just doing my job. I thought, like, exceeding was part of the job.
Well, and you'll, like, okay, so to backtrack, we're both children of immigrant parents, so for us...
Shout out my mom and dad and your mom and dad, the best parents on the
planet.
Planet.
Shout out to the brown kids, the brown immigrant kids.
All the brown kids, man.
Dude. So, I mean, I think there's also, every minority has their own experience and own strife and struggle. And just to clarify, as my dad being Indian and my mom being Spanish, the Asian American struggle versus the Hispanic, Latin American dilemma.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes. But just the Latin American experience is 2 very, very different things. But there's just there's this notion that there's no way for you to fail. That's how it feels.
100%. And I think part of that is like, you have to push really hard in order to get to the place that you want to get to, because we need to prove ourselves far more than other people who positions like this are essentially handed to them, and we need to prove ourselves. That's why I thought it was really strange, and maybe it was a good thing, because in my internship, if they thought that, if they recognized that I was pushing myself and giving extra, then maybe they had the capacity to know, like, you know, this is an equal playing field here, and she's doing more than she needs to, which is great. But then that wasn't reflected when I was employed, I guess. I don't know.
Well, and it's also a thing of like, well, now I'm paying you, so I need to make sure that this is done perfectly. Yeah, it's very interesting. My imposter syndrome came from when I was going through the internship round before Live Nation happened. Remember, I was like...
While you were, like, interviewing for internships?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just, I actually turned down one internship at a Live Nation office for an interview with Fender. And then I didn't get the... Do you remember this? I didn't get the internship. And it was devastating because I was like... Then I tried to contact that local Live Nation office and I was like... I'm actually available, and because I was really, what happened was, like, Fender was paid.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this seems really awesome, like, I want to try PR, and blah, 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 and I didn't get it. Like, I didn't even get the email that said, because they were looking at me.
They didn't even have the courtesy to tell you to pick someone else?
They sent they interviewed me for PR, and then I had 6 interviews, like 6 half-hour interviews, back to back to back.
Oh my god.
And because the main global head for PR and social media interviewed me, and then she said, well, I think you'd also be a great fit for the digital team. And so I met with them, and then she came back and she's like, which one would you like? And I said, I'm really interested in PR and learning more. And so they said, well, you're going to get a request from the PR one that you applied for, saying that you got declined because we're considering you for both. But then I never heard back. And so I was waiting there, right, for like months. Yeah. And I had to get this last internship. I need this internship. Like, I have to take this for me to graduate. I am going to, like, fail. Pass or fail. Like, I need this thing. Yeah, I, like, didn't get it. I went in and spent like 2.5 hours at the Fender office. And like didn't get the position. And that was heartbreaking. Like I thought I had it, I thought it went well, and then I didn't hear back, and I turned down one that seemed really good. But it all was meant to be, right? Everything kind of like
divine timing. 100%. So I genuinely think that Live Nation that Live Nation internship was the best thing to happen for your career.
Right. Yeah, because the internship ended up being the national office. Like, I worked on the full tour rather than just the LA stops. And they had the capacity to give me that full-time job. Like that. There was roles and opportunities open there. So I happened to meet one of my bosses at the Live Nation Wants to Watch event. I'll drop the blog for that right there. Or actually up there. The cards are up there. You know, I went, and it was funny, Jessica Thomas, shout out to her, my literal last name sister from from college. If it wasn't for her going, when I went to the Ones to Watch event, she was like, you gotta get an internship today. Like, you need to, it was June, you have to find an internship. And I was like...
It was June and you didn't have an internship?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Why? Because I was waiting for
the Fender one. Gosh.
So I was like, you know what, it's not coming through. So I went there. Jess introduced me to a guy named David Roderick, who actually works now for the competitor AEG, but he was at Live Nation, and we just clicked because he worked at GoPro, he went to NAMM, like, he was in the project. Yeah, we clicked.
Everything just lined up.
And so he was like, do you want to come outside and finish talking? Because there was music playing. I was like, yeah, sure. And we went outside, and he ran into Liz Sharkey, who, shout out to Liz, who is amazing. And Liz, like... And I chatted for a minute, and I was like, hey, and I was like, do you need an intern? And Liz literally, like, gave me the intern, and she was, like, a great mentor, and then, obviously, I worked under Mo the entire time that I was there, as my, like, official person, because Liz was just, she worked in vet news, so she was out. But it was literally that. Like, I met this person, I was like, do you need an intern?
Yeah.
I was like, I will do anything. Like, I will do everything and anything. And I loved it. I loved, you know, working with them. So that's where my imposter syndrome is. Like, I had to realize things happened for a reason, so that you had better stuff.
That's what my dad told me all the time. He was like, do not ever, like, accept a position or an opportunity that just because you're, like, for lack of a better word, I guess, like, desperate or in need of something. He's like, just wait. Just be patient. Give it time. Something that is for you will come to you. Yeah. And that's what I always think when I think at night, or I guess, I don't know. Here's the thing. Slightly going back to manifestation. I don't actively think like, okay, right now, this thought I'm having, that's a manifestation. Like, I've never thought of that. But when my mind wanders sometimes and I think like, you know what, what's mine will come to me. That's just kind of how I'm leaving it open like that. Because I think it's true and it's happened in the past for you and for me in many different ways. And it's like, whatever is mine, it will come to me.
I also think too, the manifestation is taking, and that conversation you having with your dad and his point, saying no to things when it's just not right. Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
This was an amazing conversation.
That was really, I think that's like a good note, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, go believe in yourself. Like, just work your little butt off and know that everything's meant to be.
And take time to relax, okay? Like, it's not always
self-reflection.
Self-reflection, and take time to just, like, breathe, do things that you want to do for you, but also work towards bettering yourself, because that's also how you get by and get better in the workforce.
And life. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and go check out Jen's page, the podcast that we mentioned below. Yes. Thank you guys again. Love you.
Bye. Big kisses. Love you. Bye.
Okay.
What a cute little conversation.
Wow.